Part two of being upset. My upset is because I've had two guys do this to me. Now, I had a fiance. We loved each other dearly, but from the beginning of that relationship, he has been breaking up with me. And I cry and I run back and I do everything instead of letting him go. That relationship escalated until we fought. It got violent. Numerous times he cheated on me. Found out he cheated on me. Till finally I cheated back. By the time I cheated back, I had already broken a toe and a finger in this relationship and had numerous breakdowns and anxiety attacks and just so much trauma. And to add to the trauma, what this guy does is he proposes to me in my bedroom, proposes to me, starts to pack up and fix his parents' house, all seemingly to be like we're going to move in together, get married, etc., etc. I started a small business, was doing everything to prepare myself mentally for a new chapter in my life. Then, as he was moving out slowly, he started to come at me for the same small business that him and I both, started while being together to prepare for this new chapter in life. And eventually, he made it a reason to leave. I intuitively felt he was going to leave, but I didn't expect it to be the way that it happened. That's besides the point. At this point, basically what I'm saying is I was with the man until the day that I drove him to his new house and gave him his ring, and we were done, all in a shock of surprise. But at this point, we had already fought so many times, injured both of ourselves, cheated, that the only thing left to do was to walk away from the situation and let it go. Meet anger. I have so much anger that I can't express. A new business that is doing extremely well. And also a pandemic was happening. And my father was also sick. And instead, I decided that I am going to pursue art. I am not going to return back to an office. I'm not going to get back into a routine like the one that I had when I met that ex. I'm going to do something entirely else. Met a filmmaker / actor / fellow artist. And we both had a lot in common, including coming out of seemingly toxic relationships. When I met this guy, his concerns were never to be in a committed relationship with me. He actually wanted to be in a poly relationship, and if not poly, an open one. And as far as art go, the thoughts of having a quote-unquote sex cult, not to be taken so seriously as it sounds, were always the topic known and expressed when we met, which worked for me. I wasn't much into poly with this guy that I just met. However, in my last relationship, I often did think that another woman in that relationship would have worked. I would have wanted to be poly with my ex-fiance more than I would have wanted to be poly with an entire stranger that I don't know and just getting to trust. So an open relationship or a sex cult were all casually up my alley. And I proceeded. So I gained feelings that quickly got stopped when this guy and I first ended up breaking up. And we broke up under the terms that I was taking the relationship too seriously, and he doesn't want to be in a closed relationship. So I let him go. However, we were still in the middle of working on numerous projects. This guy was such a pivotal person, or I'm saying person like an occurrence, but such a blessing in my life in terms of common interests and having the space to cultivate art. Someone I would not have wanted to squander a connection with. So I redirected my energy back to art, and we got back together under the terms of being open. That was great. Somewhere along the lines of continuing working and meeting friends of his and just doing a lot of networking, and it was such a great year for networking and spending time also with this guy, and I guess he gets to see more of my creative ideas and seeing that I follow through on everything that I say, and all his friends also liked and enjoyed my company, So the relationship gradually got serious, more serious, but there were always other women, and I always spoke to other men. Something you would have never guessed if you were just looking from the outside. And not to help the situation, but one of the projects that we were working on were a joint communion of two mythical stories. And in the story, they get married. Genius, actually, I thought. My apologies. I'm back. So, yeah. While being in the open relationship, we spoke endlessly, always very openly. Well, he did. About who he likes, who he would like to smash again, who he's talking to, who he wants to put in his projects, who will be another part of the metaverse/sex cult. And it goes on and on and on and on. I also had let him know that I'm not like him and I do not talk about my relationships and I will keep secrets. And he said, okay. So the same thing ended up happening to me. I'm here now in this very understood relationship, and this guy gets a hint that I am talking to someone else. He gets a hint that there's someone else in my reach. What he does? He rushes to get us married as Morpheus and Medusa, all while in real life ignoring me throughout the holiday, and even goes to the extent of embarrassing me by showing up to an event that I invited him, dressed horribly and standing in as if he is my lowly boyfriend, pretty much winning over my humble boyfriend that's supporting his girlfriend and winning over all to see. The audacity, right? This dressing so humbly was also a part of his game, because when there were other women that he wanted us or himself to sleep with, he would dress up just to have their company. But at my event where I'm performing, he shows up not even in boots or shoes. He treats me and my event like it is beneath him. But, however, on the outside, it looks like he is my humble boyfriend supporting his girlfriend. So sweet. So admirable. So admirable, right? And if I should voice my upset, I look like an ungrateful bitch. This went on. This ploy of embarrassing me went on well up until my birthday, and went on and went on and went on until I finally decided, or however, the universe decides for me, because we have reached now the end. We've done everything for Morpheus and Medusa. There's nothing else for us to do together. Nothing required. All photo shoots are done. All short films are done. It would only be for us to finish our own personal projects to tie in the marriage of Morpheus and Medusa. I took that as an opportunity to give a guy that I had interest in sleeping with finally a chance. The same guy that this guy that I'm openly dating caught wind of and was secretly acting out in my presence, creating this false story of attachment and humbleness, which, by the way, is nothing like he is. All traits learned from me, working alongside me. However, he is still obligated to be whoever he wants to be, and he chose to be a certain person only around me. So here the picture is set, not of him as Morpheus, not as him as a filmmaker, not of him as a man that is bold and brave enough to be in an open relationship and seek out multiple women, sleep with multiple women, and orchestrate whatever he needs to get to what he wants. Having all the means to get to what he wants. Nobody will see that. All while parading me, not only me as Medusa, but me as Jonelle Sanker, myself. And putting my artist name entirely on the back burner, as if the reason for us being together is not even real. As if I've only luckily fell into communion with this humble, great guy, which I would come to not appreciate and, of course, the worst part comes when I let him know after I've finally slept with another person. This is now close to a year later. It's a year later. It's a year later of knowing this guy and meeting and the ups and the downs, you know? So, I'm an honest person. I wanted to let him know the weekend that I went up, but at that point, there were so many things connected to us in business and events and responsibilities that I didn't want to just bail, and there was no reason to, and the tension was tight. So I decided, as usual, to put my head down and do my work, choose peace. Then finally, I just snapped. I snapped, and I vowed to never come back, but not to tell him that I wouldn't come back. I snapped and I went home. Later, he came back to visit me. There were always a stream of events of me losing things in his presence. So, one of the items that I lost or misplaced, he had to bring back for me. And he paraded himself to my house, assumed that he was supposed to spend the night, spent the night, left in the morning. I then called him and I let him know I was with someone else. And he yells, cheater. He yells and he yells and he yells and he yells and he yells. But he knew, already knew, from the time he came back to my house. He felt it in me, felt it probably in my room. I was over it. He was mad the last time he gets here. To the point that I noticed that he would start an argument about just about anything, and I, on purpose, I have this book. It's about nothing. It's about nothingness. I love this book so much, by the way. I open the book and I pretend that it's a chapter that I'm so invested in, and I read the chapter for him, and I read a part of the chapter for him, and as I assumed, he decided to start to be combative. He knew that something left on my chest. But I was not about to have that yelling that I got happen in my room, at my house, on my street, where my neighbors can hear this guy that has no rights to me or my space and wasn't invited to spend the night to even begin with. My family and my friends were not going to be witnesses to the anger that he was ready to unleash on me. So I let the night go and he left. When he got home, he wanted to persuade me to come and spend 2 weeks locked up in his business because they had a contract to get a certain amount of military guys' clothing washed. So they would have closed the business down and just wash those clothes and get that done. He wanted me to come there and help and pretend again to be his fake wife, which also was seeping outside of not only art but into or working together of Healing Crystals BZ and Can Lifestyles. We would pretend all the time. Very passionate, the two of us, great chemistry. Even he said it. He was like, you're good. And I'm like, thanks. He's an actor too, by the way. He went to art school in Toronto, so anyhows. I declined that offer to go be locked up with this guy that wants to fight with me. That knows I have a secret. That can tell that I'm over and leaving. So instead, I give him a call, I let him know, and I got cussed out just like I thought. Over the phone, being cussed out is fine. I don't know who else were in the vicinity to hear, because he screamed my name and he screamed every detail and wanted to know every detail, like if I wore a condom and where I had the sex. Until I was in tears and I realized I don't need to do this, and I ended the conversation there. He wanted us to, he wanted me to go up there still to work this out, because this was an issue that I had in his eyes. And this is something that I do because I hate myself. So we need therapy. Yeah, we're not even married and we're not even in a close relationship, but we need therapy. I declined therapy. I declined going up there, and I also declined to continue because I said I do not want to be anyone's cheating girlfriend, because that would have been the next role that I would have to play. I would go from ungrateful girlfriend to cheating girlfriend, and I would have preferred to be alone than deal with that bullshit, especially since we have completed our tasks as Morpheus and Medusa, and I wanted to finish my EP on my own. So hang up the phone, we're done. I wanted to release a poem book as a pre-teaser to my EP. I sent it to him so that he can read it. He rejected all of my claims to work, acted like he didn't understand what I was doing, and my train of thought made no sense to him. However, the poems were all very personal, and I preferred if he had seen them before than to find out and create any more type of narratives to avoid that entirely. So sent it to him and he saw it, and we all know now that we're broken up and we're working. Fast forward to now, he still doesn't acknowledge me as Medusa. He has stopped acknowledging me as Medusa, and I have been demoted down to forever proxy, which is fine, because that means that the proxies, like he always claimed, were all supposed to do art as well, and I'm just another one that did art. I am very comfortable being a proxy at this point. It was better than being a wife. He took down the video of Morpheus and Medusa getting married, and that was also okay with me. To be honest, I think he took that down since before this happened. He took it down in around his birthday when he had eyes on another big booty model and wanted us to smash her, but she was not having it. She thought that we were in a committed relationship and I had just another cheating ass man, which she continued to entertain as if that made her any better than him. Very weird girl. She also had an emotional outburst and told me to fuck me, and she also called me insecure. It was a lot of drama. Either way, fast forward to now. I haven't gotten to fully explain this to the guy that I liked and slept with, and he doesn't want anything to do with me, and I am only assuming that it's because of the superficiality of human beings in terms of a man showing affection to a woman. And I have now landed myself right back in the situation of an unfaithful man pretending to care about me to win over his peers and to throw me under the bus. I'm now celibate, not looking. I don't even like anyone. I don't have a crush. And since releasing my EP, and everything is still so tied in to this guy, and having to explain why he is not supporting makes me look horrible. But however, I was somewhat prepared for this. Not intentionally, but when I look back now at everything and the choices of songs and certain things, I made decisions on sticking to, like, my boundaries of certain things. I don't have anything much I would want to complain about in terms of my final product of my EP or my past work that I did with Lester. However, it's unfortunate that the thoughts of being loved, which had been broken so long before and shattered, it's just more shattering. And will anyone ever see me again? I might have to let go of everyone included. And that sadly includes the guy that I liked, because he had ghosted me. He thought I was cheating on my boyfriend and I deserved to get my cheeks clapped and ghosted. He didn't believe that I was in an open relationship. He thought I was lying. He thinks I'm a liar.